For my screencast lesson, I chose to do a lesson that will be used for my 4th graders. The standards that this lesson will meet are 1.3, 1.2, 2.1, and 5.5. More specifically, students will practice changing direction to maintain spacing, and they will do the same to increase spacing between players. Students will also be able to explain the difference between offense and defense, and they will include others during the activities and be respectful of differences in skills and motivation. The student learning outcomes will be that students are able to engage in an offensive-defensive style game in which they are able to change direction quickly to maintain spacing when on defense and change direction to increase spacing when on offense. At the conclusion of class, students will be able to explain with a partner the difference between offense and defense. So this is how the day will be set up. On the left side over here, this is what the warm-up will look like, and on the right side, this is how the actual game will be set up. So just a little bit of helpful hints here. This is a key down here, and the X's are the students, the triangles are cones, and the cones are color coordinated with the students to help with grouping. And then the circles show where the instructions are going to be posted for the warm-up. We'll go a little bit deeper into this in just a moment. So during the warm-up activity, students will find a partner as seen here. They're all in partners. And they'll be spread around the basketball court. Once they've found a partner, they're going to play a super dice challenge as a warm-up. So in this game, students will be in small groups and they will have 2 die, so a dice per student. And then each student will roll the die, and then they're going to add what's on their dice, getting some cross-curricular stuff going on in there. And then they're going to do the exercise that correlates with their addition on the dice. And then following that, they're going to jog a lap around the basketball court. So here we go. This is how they're going to start. The instructions are here posted on the basketball court. And so these 2 partners in specific, they rolled a 5. And so we're going to look back on the sheet. And 5 is 15 wall jumps. So these students will perform their wall jumps. And then they're going to go for a jog around the basketball court. Let's watch them go. So we'll do that for about 10 minutes. And so once the students jog their lap and return, they're going to roll again and refer back to the instructions. So following the warm-up, we're going to transition into team keep away. In this game, the students will already have been predetermined into groups, and they'll find their group name, their group, color, court, and information over by our class whiteboard. And then they'll put their jerseys on, and their jerseys will coordinate with the color cone, so that way they know where they're expected to begin, and we'll rotate accordingly. So in this specific game, we have red versus blue on half of the court and yellow versus green on the other half of the court. So specifically this game here, red versus blue, again, they're only on a half court. Red and blue will send a representative to play rock, paper, scissors to see who starts with the ball. And looks like red's going to start with the ball. And what's going to happen is red is going to move into space to receive the ball. So these red players moved to space, and that one was open, so he received the ball. Blue will be defending, so they're going to get in front of the red players to try to limit the options for the red person with the ball. So red will keep moving to get open, and they'll receive the ball when they're open, and blue will keep moving to decrease the spacing while on defense. And in this scenario here, you saw red had the ball, and they're trying to pass to their red teammate over here. But there is a blue person here. So the blue person actually intercepts the ball. When there is an interception, the blue team now has possession of the ball and they become offense. So blue team's going to pass to their team now. Let's see what else. And then blue's going to get open into space, just like red was doing when they were on offense. And red is going to decrease the spacing on defense and prevent blue from being open. And so in this situation here, blue is passing, this guy here was passing over here, but he kind of long shot, so it ended up going out of bounds. When the ball goes out of bounds, it is a turnover, so it's then red's ball. So red now has possession. They're just playing keep away, trying to keep the other team from getting the ball. And this will continue on for about 60 seconds, and we'll play 3 rounds of it. Whoever has possession of the ball at the end of the 60 seconds gets 1 point. Again, there's 3 rounds played, so if we play the first round and red wins, and then the second round blue wins, that way we can play a 3rd round and have a tiebreaker. Following the conclusion of 3 rounds, the teams will then rotate, and different colors will play a new color. So in this activity, this will last about 20 minutes, and it will be graded based on the student's ability to maintain spacing when on defense and increase spacing when on offense. So as you can see here, this is my grading card that students will receive, in which I will give them a score of a 3, 2, or 1, which I'll show you the rubric for that in just a moment. But when they get a score, it will have an X or a check mark in it, and then there will be some comments on why they received that score. So on defense, if they were able to maintain the spacing, then I would grade them accordingly. On offense, if they were able to increase spacing, I would grade them accordingly. So here are the rubrics. So when they're on defense, if the student is able to change direction quickly to maintain the spacing at all times when on defense, then they're at an advanced learner phase and they're going to get a 3. If a student is able to change direction at a moderate pace to maintain the spacing most of the time when on defense, they're at a proficient level and they'll be graded with a 2. And then finally, if a student is not able to change direction quickly and is unable to maintain spacing when on defense, they need some improvement, so they're going to get a 1. On offense, my offensive rubric is similar. So a student is able to change direction quickly to increase the spacing at all times when on offense, they're going to be considered advanced. When a student is able to change direction at a moderate pace to increase the spacing most of the time when on defense, they're going to be considered proficient at this skill. And then when the student is not able to change direction quickly and is unable to increase the spacing when on offense, they need some improvement, so they'll be placed at this level. So if we go back to the skill card, if they got a 1, because they need improvement, then 1 would be checked here on defense, and maybe they got a 2 on their offensive skills, so they would have a 2 here, and then there would be comments listed for them on ways to improve. This is just a formative assessment to see where they are with their offensive and defensive skills. So I would do this throughout all the games. I would watch one court at a time specifically and grade the students playing on that court, because there's numerous opportunities for students to be on offense and defense during 60-second team keep away, especially when there's 3 rounds. Then, following my assessment, students would then be expected to partner up at the conclusion of class and just kind of talk about the definition of offensive and defense and see if they can define it themselves. And then we'd bring it back as a class and kind of hear some ideas, and I'd offer some of my ideas to help them define their terms of offense and defense.